Hey, I have a question. So, I found some awesome sources on the history of recycling. One in particular was perfect, but when I showed it to my professor, he said it wasn't appropriate for my research. What gives? Do you see anything wrong with this?
Exactly. I mean, this dentist could know a lot about recycling in frontier America, but his credentials on their own don't help us trust him. Combine that with the fact that this isn't from a scholarly, peer-reviewed journal, but from a self-published website, and this author's credentials aren't looking too good. So here's the deal. You need to think about the sources you find and evaluate them before using them in your research. Here are 3 criteria to help you out. Number 1. Reliability. This has 2 parts. Is the author an expert in the field? Is the publication respected? Most works in a scholarly, peer-reviewed journal will pass the reliability test. Most of the time, so will internet sites from government offices or from universities. However, many popular magazines or common internet sites like Wikipedia will not. Number 2. Timeliness. Is the source recent enough to contain the most up-to-date information? This is important whenever recent information has affected the topic you're researching. Science and medicine are good examples. An article written about global warming in 1991 might not contain up-to-date information and would probably not be appropriate to use in your research. However, if you're researching attitudes about global warming in late 20th century America, this could be a fine source to use. Number 3. Context. Does the source really address your research question? Remember the limiters you selected in Module 1? If the source's time period, population, or geography does not match what you're researching, then you need to think twice before using it. Your students have found a few sources. Help them determine whether each one is appropriate for their research.
What kinds of recycling of everyday products were common in frontier America? Let's look at this one. It discusses how Aboriginal Australians made efficient use of their land and resources. No, it is not okay to use this article. This article does not seem relevant to Lucas's topic. While Lucas is studying the history of recycling by early Americans, the article discusses the history of recycling in Australia, not America. What kinds of recycling of everyday products were common in frontier America? Actually, this is a great source to use. The book is a compilation of diary entries for a woman with first-hand experience with life in frontier America. Therefore, it is a primary source. We do not know how much the author writes about recycling and reusing materials, but if Lucas finds more information in this book, it is most likely a trustworthy source.
Now let's look at a couple of sources for Zach's topic, how do reality shows benefit society?
Let's see. The Real Effects of Reality Television, written by Lori Fox, published in Time magazine in 2007. This article looks fine to use, as long as Zach's professor has not specified that he used only scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. An article from Time magazine is not peer-reviewed. How about this article found in Wikipedia? The author is unknown, but it does talk about American Idol. You may use Wikipedia to find background information, but it is not considered a reliable source of information to cite in research projects. This is because the content on the site is not necessarily written or reviewed by experts in the field.
Now let's take a look at 2 of Ellie's sources. Remember, her topic is, what are the voting tendencies of African Americans?
Here's an article found at a university website. The title is Results of the Vote Act. It discusses the effects of the Help America Vote Act of 2002. This is probably a good source to use. Though it was not published in a peer-reviewed journal, at least we have some reason to trust the author, who is a university professor in a relevant field. How about this book, The Black Vote in America? It discusses the tendencies of Black voters in the U.S. Actually, this book is probably too old to use. There have been many changes in the political landscape since it was written in 1981. Therefore, it may not have relevant information for Ellie's research.
Good job! Remember, always think about your sources before you use them in your research. Consider their reliability. Is the author an expert in the field, and is the publication respected? Also, think about timeliness. Is the source recent enough to contain up-to-date information? And think about context. Does the source address the time period, population, and geography you're researching? Finally, when you do find a good source, remember to record it in your research log and export it to RefWorks.